cover of our bulletin and our call to worship and our scripture reading. Today is about peace and peacemaking. Blessed are the peacemakers, for they will be called children of God, which is Jesus' own way of saying, if you want to bear the image of God, you really want to be putting forward that you are a child of God, the way to do it is to be a peacemaker. Powerful words. It is not to be righteous in your own eyes, but to try to link up, engage with others, to peacemaking. And as we read in the book of James, this language is so clear. Anytime a preacher has to preach from the book of James, there's always a danger, because it's so clear that you run the risk of making it muddy. And so James says this, and this is for all of us, including and especially me. Who is wise and understanding among you? Let him show it by his good life, by deeds done in the humility that comes from wisdom. But if you harbor bitter envy and selfish ambition in your hearts, do not boast about it by saying, this is just the way of the world, or deny the truth by saying, I'm not really jealous or envious. Such wisdom does not come down from heaven, but is earthly, unspiritual, of the devil. For where you have envy and selfish ambition, there you find disorder and every evil practice. But the wisdom that comes from heaven is first of all pure, then peace-loving, considerate, submissive, full of mercy and good fruit, impartial and sincere. Peacemakers who sow in peace raise a harvest of righteousness. Do you see that? Do you see the order? Peacemakers who sow in peace raise a harvest of righteousness. Not the other way around. It is not, I am righteous, therefore there will be peace. It's first, I will try to make peace, and then righteousness will come. I will try to make peace. James just hits it. It's so clear. He hits it. He continues on. What causes fights and quarrels among you? Don't they come from your desires that battle within you? You want something but don't get it. You kill and covet but you cannot have what you want. You quarrel and fight. You do not have because you do not ask God. Peacemaking. I have to give it to a preacher. His name is Phil Morgan. He came up with this fantastic phrase. I would love to take credit for it. I cannot. He says there are peace breakers, there are peace fakers, and then there are peacemakers. That's so good. I want to take credit for that. I cannot. Peace breakers, peace fakers, peacemakers. Peace breakers are what James describes. The folks who, they got anger, bitterness, pain, envy, jealousy within them, selfish ambition, and it's within them. They don't deal with it. They don't bring it to God. They don't face it, and they end up letting that create problems for everyone around them. When you have these issues of anger or bitterness or pain, paranoia, fear, jealousy, envy, and you don't face it, you let it rule you, you let it dictate to you, you let it set the way you view the world, you put on it as a lens, and you see the world through it, you end up creating problems. It's not that you're bad, it's that you become dangerous. When you let bitterness just take over, you become dangerous. When you let jealousy take over, you become dangerous because you are unable to have the right perspective. It's like the man who puts on sunglasses that are tinted red and he says everybody and everything is red. When you are jealous or envious, it takes over. And that is when it becomes dangerous. The issue is that it's so human, so natural, so normal for us that we get jealous or we get hurt, we get bitter, we get envious. It's just what life does to us sometimes. But if you let that take over, you end up being a peace breaker. Y'all are going to be so quiet this time, man. Oh, boy. If you let it take over, it ends up just dictating the wrong perspective. There's a play that Shakespeare wrote. It's called Othello. It's about a great soldier who happens to be black in Venice, which everyone is light-skinned and Italian. And Othello is a great general. And one day he's going to promote one of his captains. And instead of promoting this one guy, he promotes someone else. And so the guy he passed over, his name is Iago. And Iago is so furious that Othello passed him over. Now what does Iago do? He plots to destroy Othello. But how does he plot to destroy Othello? He can't beat him up. He's too much for him, right? He can't fight him. He's too good of a soldier. He can't go and publicly defame his name because he's too respected as a general. So what does Iago do? Iago manages to use jealousy so that Othello will destroy himself. And how does Iago do it? He manages to take a handkerchief that Othello's wife has. And he takes the handkerchief, steals it by surprise, and uses a handkerchief to create enough jealousy and rage in Othello's mind that Othello thinks his wife is cheating and has been unfaithful, and that everyone is plotting against him, and that it comes to the point where Othello is so enraged, he murders his wife. And in murdering his wife, he ruins himself and he murders himself. All Iago did was take a handkerchief. And that is how jealousy is dangerous. Because it wasn't true that his wife was unfaithful. He just took a handkerchief and he completely destroyed this man and this woman. Peacemakers, when you got jealousy, it's fine. I get jealous sometimes. I wish I was 5 inches taller. Every person who's 6 foot, I'm jealous of. Every single time. Doesn't matter. I just stare at them and I have to get over it. But Lord, forgive me for harboring